As a part of my month of horror, I would have to be crazy not to review my favorite survival horror game, Dead Space, which incidentally is the first horror game I ever played, unless of course you count the Forest Temple from Ocarina of Time. When I was a kid, I actually used to find it quite scary, probably because of the soundtrack and the dark environments, and the Wallmasters. But I digress. Let's get into the review. In Dead Space, you play as an engineer named Isaac Clarke, sent to the ship the Ishimura along with the crew of the USG Callion to fix a communications problem. However, he is also there to find his girlfriend Nicole, who was a member of the medical crew aboard the Ishimura. Once on board, they investigate what has happened to the ship, and quickly find that almost the entire crew has been killed and turned into horrible monstrosities called necromorphs, which, to sum it up, they are corpses that have been reanimated and mutated into ghastly forms by a rapidly reproducing bacteria that acts as a virus. To be honest, the necromorphs stop being scary in the slightest after the first few chapters after you've learned all their tricks, which are, in order, jumping out of vents, playing dead, and jumping out of vents some more. The thing that really got to me in the game were the few human NPCs you run into throughout the game. The ones that lost their sanity, obviously. Here are a few of the early examples. The backstory of what happened on board the ship is told through various text, audio, and video logs, with one of my favorite bits being the audio logs left behind by some man named Temple. They are found through pretty much every area of the ship and give you the feeling that you aren't alone in the struggle for survival. Strangely enough, Temple is also looking for his girlfriend. A lot of people say this game's story rips off Event Horizon, but I wouldn't say that. I still have yet to watch Event Horizon. I own it. I haven't touched it yet. I'm usually too busy playing games for the most part to watch movies. Now on to the gameplay. The game is played in third person, in case you haven't been paying attention to any of the gameplay footage I've been showing, and completely lacks a heads-up display. All the information you need is displayed on your character for the most part. Your health bar is glowing along your spine, and your stasis energy is displayed on your shoulder. Ammo is displayed when you raise your weapon to attack position. You know, it's very easy to forget that the majority of the weapons you use are actually engineering tools. I would really appreciate it if at some point Visceral decided to show someone using them the way they were meant to be used. Anyway, all the weapons are unique in their forms of attacks. They all have an alt fire as well. For instance, the plasma cutter is able to align itself either vertically or horizontally for firing. The pulse rifle's alt fire is a radial spray in the first game, quite effective for dealing with being surrounded, obviously. And the line gun is good for large horizontal attacks, great for taking out an enemy's legs, and I believe it can also drop a mine with its alt fire. Truth be told, I never used any of the other weapons in my multiple playthroughs. Oh wait, the Ripper, right. Well, that weapon will tear through almost anything. It's basically a buzzsaw weapon. It's a fun weapon to use, but then again they all are. Also, menus such as maps, inventory, logs, objectives are all accessed in real time, giving you a sense of vulnerability. Now, I don't like really going into the game's visuals for too long, so I won't dwell on it. The game has pretty low-res textures in the environments, and they are recycled very, very, very often, but don't let this discourage you. It never ceases to be beautiful. The lighting engine in the game is amazing. It gives the game a very haunting atmosphere, and Visceral managed to give each area of the ship a very distinct look to it, even when you're sent back to the same area a second time. While I do like the sequel, there's just something I find extremely unnerving about returning to an area you've already been to and seeing that it's even worse than it was before. Right? Enough on that. Let's talk about the soundtrack. Again, I don't like dwelling on stuff like this for long. Apparently many of the noises the necromorphs make are based on animal noises and such. I think I heard that the lurkers, in case you don't know, the babies with the tentacles coming out of their backs, their sound effects are made using baby cries and animal noises or something. The weapons all have weight to them thanks to the great sound effects, and the ambience... Man, if this game isn't scary, the soundtrack can still get in your head. Well, I think I pretty much covered everything. Now, I don't like giving scores, so I guess I'll answer the question, would I recommend this game? Well, yes, it's one of my favorite horror titles despite the game not being scary. The gameplay controls are fantastic. If there were ever a month to buy it, it would be October. If you have any recommendations, leave it in the comments. I already have a schedule I've set up till the end of November, and starting December I will begin reviewing games you all recommend for me. I currently have no method of recording footage off console, but hopefully by then I will have something. And this is Linkonair signing out. See you next week when I review Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Oh joy.